So today I'm going to be sharing every single book that I bought in 2020. I thought it would just be fun to see like if I read these books, if I didn't, and go from there. This is the year I'd say that I've bought the most books because of COVID and me not going to the library as much. And then I also got a book of the month subscription, which is where the majority of these books are from. So I'm going to try to do them in the order that I bought them, but I figured I would just start with the book of the months. And also a lot of the books that I bought this year are also out on loan to some friends, so I don't have all of them here to show, but let me just share them and yeah, we'll just see how many of them I've actually read. The first book of the month I got was The Two Lives of Lydia Bird, and I read this. I have this in a reading vlog and I really enjoyed this one. The next one I got The Vanishing Half by Ruth Bennett, and I really enjoyed this one. It was a good book of the month selection. After that I got The Beauty in Breaking, and this one was so good. It actually was a memoir, and I normally don't read nonfiction. I just loved this one. Is it a memoir if the person is still alive? I'm not really sure. She's still alive, the author. She's also a doctor, and I loved like her life lessons she learned, especially like through her practice. Then I read Recursion. Oh, loved this one. This is an add-on I got. It was so good. This made my favorites list. Also another one that made my favorites list, I got Beach Read. Still love this book by Emily Henry, 5 stars, love it all around. Then I got Ties That Tether, really enjoyed this one, but I do have to say, like, this is probably like the book of the month, the one book of the month that like I didn't enjoy it as much. Like, coming up next, This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins, super loved this one. I have a review for this one as well. Then Things You Save in a Fire, this made my favorites list, I think. If I didn't put it on there, it was an accident. Like, it should have been on that list because I loved this one. And ending the year with In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. Loved this one as well, the perfect holiday romance. A couple of the ones not mentioned because they are on loan to some friends. I've also had the guest list from Book of the Month, read and loved. A Good Marriage, I read and loved. And then Home Before Dark, which I also read and loved. Oh, and how could I forget Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. That was another one of my Book of the Month selections, and that was my favorite book of the year. So yeah, so far all the book of the months I've actually been really good about reading them, mostly because like they've been my main book every month until recently. So moving on into non-book of the month purchases. Got The Worst Best Man in February because this was the Romance Text book club pick, and I really wanted to be part of that. I'm so glad I did it. It was just a fun, cute read. So that was my next book. Then once quarantine hit and started, I did like a virtual book club with my friends for Where the Crawdads Sing. Read this and loved this. Also at this time, I read and loved All the Ways We Say Goodbye. It's not pictured here because it's also on loan to a friend. Earlier in the year, in the fall time, I got The Secret History. I was planning on reading this book, you know, that month that I got it, and it never happened. So this is like my first one that I haven't yet read. Another one I haven't yet read, I got The Fifth Season because Reagan gushed about this series so much, especially in like her window recommendations, and I've heard her talk about it before. But yeah, I haven't read this one yet, so now we're definitely getting into the section of the video where I haven't read all of these books. I went to the used bookstore quite a few times, and I don't know, it's kind of like 50-50 if I read them. So I got Bringing Down the Duke. I'd actually already read this book, but I knew that I'd want to reread it one day again, and so I decided to purchase it. I haven't reread it yet since I bought it though, so I don't know if this counts in the read category or not. Then I got My Oxford Year on that same trip, and I haven't yet read this, but I would like to soon. I read The Ghost and Mrs. Meower. Bought this secondhand, read it, did not like it. I have some more cozy mysteries, Murder by the Book by Lauren Elliott. Haven't yet read this one. And then I got The Wolf Widow by Victoria Abbott, another cozy mystery that I haven't yet read. And surprise from the bookstore was The English Wife by Lauren Willig. This one was such a good atmospheric read. Got it from the used bookstore, read it and loved it. Also on one of those used bookstore trips, I did get The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, and I read it and loved it, and it is on loan to a friend. Now I'm gonna get into books that I've been gifted. So these are all like in the end of the year. I was gifted The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, actually the Book of the Month edition too. So loved this book, it made my favorites. For Christmas now, I was gifted The Cruel Prince, which I'd actually already read this book before, but I wanna read the whole series, and I only read the first book. It's been a few years, so my plan is like to start the whole series again and probably buy them. So I don't know if this counts again because like I've read it before, but I haven't reread it since I got it, and that was my plan. But listen, I just got these books on Christmas, so like there's plenty of time. And then also Monday starts on a Saturday, which I'm actually planning on reading this really soon. This is also gifted to me for Christmas. So all the books that I acquired in 2020. Let me quickly count them all up and give you the stats on if I've read them or not. This is so hard to count because I have books that are just not shown. Hold on. I have 13 book of the months. 13, 16, 17, 18, 19. This might not be right, but I think I acquired 28 books in 2020. Now I need to count the ones that I haven't read out of that stack. Out of those 28 books, I have only not read 6 of them. I feel like that's pretty decent, especially considering a lot of those I got near the end of the year, and so I just haven't had time yet to read them. Anyway, that's gonna end this video. If there are some of those books that I mentioned I haven't yet read that you think I should definitely prioritize, let me know, because I'm hoping to read some physical books here in the end of this month and like really get those books read, because I just don't like having like a lot of books on my physical TBR. I like to read those relatively quickly. Tell me which ones I can prioritize so I can get to those soon. But thank you so much for watching and happy reading.